The time is now 6:45 a.m. Of 2017, and I'm off to work. It's gonna be so cold outside. So many drunk people. See you later. So, day 2, vlog number 2 or 13. I want to talk about what camera you should buy first. This question is the #1 question that every single person asks. They want the best camera that they can get for their budget. Typically I would come out with an answer like, buy a Dslr, Canon T3i or 600D as it's known in the UK. I would always say that it's one of the best starting cameras to learn from. It was my first camera. It served me well. Here's why now my opinion has changed, because phone cameras have changed. The technology is different. The quality is a lot better. We're now able to achieve cinematic quality from phone cameras, which is, it's an amazing. People just, they've got like iPhone 7 pluses in their hand and they're like, oh, I don't have a decent camera or whatever. That's a decent camera. It's better than cameras than they had 10, 15 years ago. The difference between cameras back then and cameras now, it's like having a potato to a sweet potato. What really bugs me is when people say, I don't have, or I can't do, or this isn't gonna work because. Just because you can't do something properly, because you can't do it to a standard, it doesn't matter. The reason why you can't do it to a standard is because you're not capable yet. And the reason you're not capable yet is because you either haven't got the resources or you're going too far ahead of yourself. And a lot of people make that mistake. They get a camera and they say, what camera will give me the best cinematic quality? Then other people are saying, oh, it's the lens that matters. And then they say, what lens will give me the best cinematic quality? None of them will give you that cinematic look, for an exception. Now, I'm a strong believer of color science, how a camera can resolve an image and present it to you in a certain way, And I think, for me, it's like, look, you got your camera, you got your lights, you got your lens, all these things combined together will give you that cinematic look. Certain cameras can help you further that. Certain cameras have dynamic range, very high dynamic range, like Alexa. You got shadows, you get highlights, and they're all in the big palette like this. Other cameras, their palette is like this, so you only get to see, not a lot. The dynamic range is how close you are to nature. How close we can see it from our own eyes. When we look at the clouds, we see everything. If you try to look at something that's got a shadow and then look at highlights all in the same picture with your own eyes, you will see that it is clear. You don't have crushed blacks, you don't have blown out highlights, right? So if you get a camera and you point it and you see crushed blacks, blown out highlights, it feels amateurish, and that is what most people will perceive as non-cinematic. That's what they don't realize. For me, there's 2 contributions. #1, lighting in a scene. If nothing is blown out, lighting is controlled. You don't need to have a decent amount of dynamic range with your controlled lighting, but you need to make sure that it doesn't look out of place, and that will help you. #1 tip I've realized after all these years of filming: the easiest way to achieve a cinematic look is to not go beyond yourself. Create a very simple shot. Now, what you can do is look at your favorite movie, pick out a scene, and then take the lighting and make it your own. When I say make it your own, I mean give it some style. Don't just directly copy. You only need one light to create something cinematic. How can you do that? Place it to the side of you. Have a wall on the other side. On that wall, place a black sheet. Try that. Just try that and see if that works. I can't do it now because I don't have any lights with me. I usually get them from someone else and then I use their lights. To me, I just sort out lighting on the set. I'm not a massive fan of bothering with lights too much. I just like to place them simply, highlight the background, highlight the person, and then add in some accent lights to bring out colors elsewhere. Back to the subject of what should be your first camera. Number one, you need a lot of money to invest. You need a camera, you need sound, you need lenses. There's a whole variable here. But if you get a camera with a kit lens, don't think that just because the kit lens is the kit lens that it's shit. That's not entirely true. The most important investment is controlling light. You can make something as cinematic on an Alexa as you can on an iPhone just by blocking out light. And my recommendation is not to buy your first camera, but to buy your first light controller. So buy a diffuser, buy a flag, get a reflector, something that controls the light and molds it. Because right now, look, I've got these LEDs, right? They look kind of cool. I mean, I don't know if, I can't really see myself here, but I imagine if I kind of like hold up reflection here, I can get some pretty cool effects on my glasses. And I'm not sure, but it's all about light. The camera does not matter. It does to an extent, but not in the beginning. Controlling light is your number one object of being a cinematographer. And that should be your focus, okay? It doesn't matter what camera you buy. It's all about how you control the light. Because if you don't have light, your camera doesn't mean shit. Yeah, unless you got like an A7S, which even then, you're just cheating the light. You're not really producing an image that's cool. Just think about it. Do you want blue light? Do you want red light? Orange? Is that orange? I can't tell. The point is, whatever you choose, it will affect your image. And how that affects your image is up to you. You want red for something really evil. I did a film, Proteus, with a little bit too much red, but that was my choice. A lot of people hated it. I don't give a shit. To me, it was a good film. I say good film, it wasn't a great film, it was a good film. I just check this is recorded. My point to you is, light is the most important, because without light, there's nothing.